She's blind, right?
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah, that was cold. But it was funny.
Those Cubans, you know what I mean? The Latins, you gotta watch out for them.
Yeah,
You
no,
gotta watch
we're Latins.
A little bit.
We love to eat, too.
Yeah. So what are you doing after the show, then?
We're going to eat.
I'm gonna eat.
What are you talking about? If I don't eat for 11 minutes, I get dizzy.
So, all right, so in the course of all this career stuff, you're making people, you're laughing with the family, you're cracking jokes, you're taking what you learned out from the house into the
Right.
clubs, into the bowling alleys.
The bowling alley, and then
7-Eleven.
comedy, exactly. Where I would do it, no matter where I had to do it, I would get up there, because that's the only way you can learn comedy is by doing it, you know? You got to get up there, you got to get on stage, and you learn by trial and error. And, you know, some nights you do a show 8 o'clock, and they're like, ah, and then 10 o'clock, they take those 300 people out, put 300 more, and they sit out and look at you like that. And you're sweating, and you're going, gee, I got to drive that truck again. I wish I was in that truck right now.
Do you remember I don't know if you remember the singer Toadie Fields.
Yes.
She was a comedian.
She was hysterical.
She used to say that there are no bad audiences, there's just bad entertainers.
She said that?
She said that. She's gone now.
I thought it was them.
Well, but there's a certain something about being able to find out what pushes a button with that audience.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, I mean, is that something? I mean, that's something you have to just learn by experience.
Yeah, you know, the audience knows within 2-3 minutes if they like you or not. And that one of the most important things, even with comedy, is that you have to be likable. And people know if they like you or not. And you have to be real. You know what I mean? And people aren't stupid. They know what, like I said, within 2-3 minutes. And, you know, what I got to give the Lord credit for is that he actually, when I started, I used to use a little bit of blue humor because that's what you thought people wanted.
Curse.
Yeah, I hate to.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
Not much, a little bit. Maybe 3 or 4 of them in the whole act. But I got to give Jesus credit because I walked away from the career for 4 years, and he cleaned up everything, you know? So I got to...
All right, so obviously there's some sort of a conversion experience that happened here. So you're doing comedy, you're on TV, you're riding high.
Right.
You know, everybody's coming to your house on Sunday for dinner.
Exactly.
Right? And what happened that allowed the light of the gospel to break through and make you go, oh, well, maybe I need to get saved?
Well, it just came out of nowhere. I used to go to my sister-in-law. Always, she went to a Christian church, which is a good start, right? A very different church than what I grew up. You know, it was like, ooh,
right.
Get up, turn around, get the cookie, let's get out of here, you know? Ooh. Now I'm going to this church, and they're like got their hands in the air, and they're singing, and they're happy.
Like these guys.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. And I wasn't used to that, because if you had your hands up in the air in my church, they were robbing you.
Right.
You were getting robbed.
Turn around.
Yeah, turn around,
right.
And, you know.
Face on the ground.
They were tied with a gun. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, it's a little light. We're going to go around the room one more time.
Yeah, don't I know you from somewhere?
What happened to the pastor? I don't know. It looked like a heart attack. But, so to make this story even longer.
Even longer.
So I go to my sister-in-law, Wendy, God bless her. She would do the plays at this church.
Okay.
And my brother-in-law would always play Jesus. He looked like the one we know, the long hair
right.
and the beard. And now they would invite me and my wife, Rhonda, to the church. And they would always sit us no less in the front. And this was like, and I'm sitting there going, oh, man, why am I in the front? Why am I in the front? And people are singing, hey, God, we love you. How you doing? You know. And then all of a sudden, they passed the basket around. They put more than $2 in it. Because when I went to church, you put $1 or $2, that was it. Maybe sometimes
right.
you took 4 quarters out if you needed it, you know?
Sometimes it happens, you know, life is rough.
Exactly.
I get it.
And
right.
then all of a sudden, I kept going back to this church. But you know, you make fun of stuff that you really are afraid of. You don't understand it, so you laugh about it. But you're being convicted. God's pulling on you on the heart. He's pulling the strings. So I started to get to know her pastor, and I never seen a guy that loved the Lord the way this guy did. He would talk about Jesus like he was his best friend. And I got interested. Yeah, and so one day he invites me to lunch. I'm not kidding you. You know, and being an actor, I'm like, free lunch? Yeah, I'll go.
Of course. Let's do lunch. That's the bumper sticker.
Exactly.
Right.
It was 11 minutes, so time I had to eat. So all of a sudden, At this Mexican restaurant, I gave my life to Christ. Who knew? I didn't know.
At a Mexican restaurant?
At a Mexican restaurant.
What's wrong with you?
Well, Italian restaurant was too dangerous. So I had to go. I might have been giving my life. Geez, I'm going to give. What happened to Labriola? It looked like a heart attack. He just fell on the gun 8 times.
Well, in that case, we're glad it was a Mexican restaurant.
And you know what I laugh? I would tell people my story. I says, go to this Mexican restaurant, order the number 8. That's the fajitas and the Holy Spirit.
So you're over a taco and...
I'm over, and now I thought, wow, I'm saved. I'm going to go to Disney World, right? What goes on now? But all of a sudden, it got hard, my life. And I didn't even know how to read a Bible. And that's the truth. 11 years ago, I didn't know how to read a Bible. I didn't know who Paul was. I thought he was one of the Beatles. I don't know what they're talking about.
Well, sometimes you can be right and wrong at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So this guy came over my house. He came over my house to teach me how to read the Bible. And all of a sudden, I started learning who this was and who that was. And it started speaking to me like food. I started eating this stuff like food. And all of a sudden, I read one scripture, changed my whole life. One. It was Ephesians 5:4, where it says, no coarse joking, no foul language. I'm like, how am I going to talk to my family?
That's a good point.
Exactly.
Right.
And that punched me like right in the heart. God punched me because I says I can't do my act no more. Because at that time I was doing blue humor, like you said, I was cursing. And I'm like, how am I going to profess I'm a Christian and then go out in a club and do dirty material? You can't do it. You can't do it. So I was like really upset about it, you know? And I put the career down for about 3.5, 4 years because I didn't want to dishonor the Lord, you know, by, you know, just...
Okay, so you weren't doing comedy. You were back driving the truck with the Teamsters.
No, that was over with.
Oh, it was
Yeah,
over with. Okay,
over.
so now you're...
I didn't know what to do. I was like, you know, I tried 6 months later, after I got saved, I put it down. I tried it in a club in Kansas City. So maybe I can do it clean now. But as soon as I hit the stage, the people wanted, I slipped.
Right.
So after that, I said, God, you know, I'm not doing that no more. And I just did various jobs. Like I sold real estate in these condos in Florida. I sold real estate for about a year. I was horrible. You know what killed me? I used to get anxiety. You ever get an anxiety attack before?
Yeah, I got it right now. Maybe it's just a heart attack. I don't know. But go ahead.
Picture me, I go from comedy, I'm driving like the cart around. There's a community.
Wait a minute, you're selling real estate in Florida like a few years ago?
Yeah.
That's when the economy's tanking.
No, this is...
This is terrible.
No, this was about 8 years ago when it was good. And I'm driving around and I got these people on the cart. Like, you know, when you drive in a community, you got to show them around. I don't know nothing. I know nothing. They don't understand. I got them in a cart. There's a lake there. And they're asking me the stupidest questions. How far is this house from that house? One lady, I'm not kidding you, she's in the car. She asked me, there's otters there. There was these otters in the lake. She says, how did the otters get here? I says, by bus. What do I know?
I think we're related.
It's just,
Like, we gotta be.
then I'm getting an anxiety attack. I'm a nervous wreck. I don't know any questions. They're up to about 35 questions. I'm driving this cart, so she's asking me, and all I can say, my partner's name is Johnny Gerisi. Hey, just got out. Good guy.
Just gotta...
Good guy. So I'm driving the cart, and they ask me like 30 questions. Also, I keep going. It's like, why don't you ask Johnny? I don't know. We get back, I'll ask Johnny. So they're probably going, why didn't Johnny take us, right? So all of a sudden, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced a panic attack, but you feel like you're having a heart attack and all. You start sweating and everything. And these people have no clue. In about 3.2 seconds, I'm going to die, get a heart attack. And we're going into the lake with the otters that just got hit by bus.
Right.
So I'm like this, and I'm sweating and all, and I says, folks, this concludes our tour. I run out. My partner's in the thing. I go, Johnny? He goes, what's the matter? I'm having a heart attack. What do you mean? What do you mean, what do I mean? I'm having a heart attack. I'm laying on the floor like this. He's looking at me over the desk. He's going, what do I do? What do you mean? Call 911. What do you do? I'm having a heart attack. So he calls 911. This is all true. There's neighborhoods in New York where we had a lot of crime, but no one ever saw or heard anything. And no matter how you got killed, it was always a heart attack.
It's true.
It's right. You could throw a guy off a 30-story building. The cops come. What happened? I don't know. It looked like a heart attack. Yeah, the guy grabbed his chest and fell over. I tried to help him there. They could be this many people, I'm telling you. A guy laying here with an ice pick sticking out of his pack.
Right.
The cops go, what happened? I don't know. It looked like a heart attack. Yeah. The guy grabbed his chest and fell on it 17 times. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
Well, maybe roll down. You know, most of my relatives died from heart attacks.
Lead poisoning, too, right?
Lead poisoning. It's just, it was sudden, too. You know? It was right before they had to go to court.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't it, so.
You had a judge on. Didn't you have a guy that worked for the government on one of your shows?
Yeah, well, just now. I had an
recently.
attorney,
That's right. Yeah, an attorney. You know, he put a lot of our people away.
Well, I know, he left.
I don't know if you heard. Heart attack.
I know, heart attack. That's a shame. Hey, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
I don't know.
What are you gonna do? It happens to the best of them.
But, you know.
So here we are.
How you doing?
So you're doing comedy. You're learning from your roots. You pick up any routines, like or anything? Can you talk about things that happened when you were a kid and
Not really.
find that humor?
My father said, keep your mouth shut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything that happened with your brother, your mom, anything?
No, my father was a good guy. He was a rough kind of guy, you know, but he never did good in school. For instance, I remember one year me and him were in the same class,